morning, ladies and gents, and welcome to Living with S. I'm your host, Sharon Mundia, and we are at the beautiful Park Inn by Radisson. It's a beautiful day, and today's conversation is all around e-commerce, which is something that you can't escape. In fact, one of the guests did say before we started filming, hey, did you notice that during the census, that's one of the questions they asked? Like, have you shopped online in the past 3 months? It's something that's taken the world by storm, and is starting to pick up pace in Kenya as well. So I'm curious to know a little bit more about my guests and their journey in the e-commerce world. I've got Ayrton Bet, who's a co-founder and product manager at Perpink. Welcome. And then I've got Makena Murungi, who's the co-founder of Mother and Baby Shop KE, right? Welcome. So first I have to say I've bought items from both your shops. With you, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, a couple of years back.
So I'm curious to know a little bit more about your businesses, but before that, I would love to know a little bit more about the both of you. But what did you study in uni, and did you foresee getting into the e-commerce world at all?
I studied BBIT at Strathmore.
BBIT?
Yeah, that's business and IT.
Business
so,
and IT.
I think basically the run through of our course is that they assume we'll probably enter a business and IT related field, but I really don't think I was ever gonna. I never really thought I was ever gonna get into e-commerce at that point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even though you were, so what did you think? What were you leaning more towards?
Employment, like getting a nice job, maybe in a telecommunications firm, and
Okay.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah?
That's what.
Was that similar for you?
I studied advertising and design.
Okay.
So I had a master's in advertising and design. And at that point, I thought I was going to get into the advertising world, work in an agency.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. I didn't expect that I'd get into e-commerce.
Yeah. So tell me about your journey into starting Mother and Baby Shop.
Okay, so I have a creative background. So I was interested in technology, and so I started off as a photographer, and then
we had a shoot.
We did.
How have we not spoken about this yet?
I know,
guys. I'm gonna ask that we have the picture of me from our first shoot here. But yes, you were. Yeah,
it was like
that's
in a
how
field.
we first met. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got kicked out.
Yeah, because
someone was like, "Get out! This isn't your place." Mnafanya nini hapa?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So okay, photographer.
So and even with photography, I got into baby photography. So I was doing pregnancy and baby photography.
Yeah.
And so then when I became a mother 2 years ago, I just found it very difficult to get products that I needed. It was really inconvenient. You had to go to Biashara Street, pay for parking, and then the variety that they had was not very big. There's something I bought, it was supposed to be Fisher's Price, and then I realized it was not genuine.
It was fake. Okay.
Yeah, and I paid full price for it, like
Yeah.
not for a knockoff product. So I felt like there's a gap in the market, and that's how I ended up getting into. So I basically brought together now my creative background and my experience in motherhood and my interest in technology too.
Yeah. So, but before then, had you started any business? Well, I guess photography would have been the business that you were running. Was your photography business mostly run through online? Is that how you got most of your customers?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
mostly I got my customers through social media, and I used like online platforms to allow customers to view their products, purchases.
Right.
So technically that also had some elements of e-commerce then,
Yeah.
which just recently I was thinking about the
The
connection.
merge, yeah. Because everything, all the dots connect. Looking back,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the time you may not see it so clearly. And so, what about you? How did Perpink start?
Well, I had an initial stint at trying employment, but I was still in campus. I tried to work at media, that didn't work out so well. So moved over and tried to do something in the communications field. That went a bit better, but during our time at Strathmore, like every time guys used to come and ask me and my co-founder, I want to get something for my girlfriend, I want to get something for a friend. In those scenarios, most of the time it was someone who wanted to impress a girl. Yeah.
Okay.
So everyone would offer a suggestion. I mean, it would be an open, everyone would be like, no, I'd do this, this would really get her attention. And I think for guys at that scenario, they really, really want to get the best. So we started off with a few friends. We used to I knew some really nice gift shops around. I used to take things, we package for them and give it to them. And actually we used to get very positive feedback. And this was
So what kind of things would you be?
It would be
selling?
bracelets,
Okay.
jewelry, perfumes, just specific items that I knew or I thought would really make a mark. And I guess it was really goal oriented. It was, if the chick comes back smiling and she's happy at what you've done, then we've done something good. Then through that, we just sort of eased into it, started selling through Facebook, so created a Facebook shop. At that point in time, that's around 5 years ago.
Okay.
So a lot of new Facebook shops were upcoming, and when we opened a Facebook shop, we realized that apart from our student community where we were, a lot of guys outside our community, working people, were so interested in what we had to offer, and we grew from there.
Interesting. So you started off selling your products online, on Facebook rather. Sorry. Was that? Did you go straight into a website for you,
No, we
McKenna, or
started
did
on
you?
Facebook as well.
Oh, you started on Facebook. So why Facebook first? Why start there? What did it provide for you? Maybe you can start off that.
Well, it's free. So being a student and starting a business at that point in time, that's a very, very big factor.
Yeah.
Also at that point in time, it had a lot of users, and it was a way you could reach the world, reach people. They had these small mini, I'd call them mini groups, which are very big right now, like one was called Sokoku marketplaces, where you could post your product, and the marketplaces had reach of almost 100,000 followers. And that's something we totally didn't have. You look at, if you were to give a financial value to that sort of advertisement, that would be around a lot of money.
Yeah.
Too much for someone who was starting business.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest advantage for Facebook at our time.
Yeah. And looking back, would you do things the same way? Would you start on Facebook, or do you think things have changed now that you would probably take a different approach?
If I had the option, okay, right now things have changed. Facebook is not what it used to be. There are a lot more users and a lot more people advertising. So they also changed their metrics to suit that. So
Right.
on our days, we used to put up a post on Facebook. Automatically you get like 10 likes, people are seeing, everyone is seeing. But with increase in content, like there's so many shops, there are like 10 people selling gifts, 100 people selling bags and shoes. So what Facebook does, it limits your viewership.
Right.
So I'd probably start off right now on something like Instagram or Twitter.
Would you do the same, McKenna?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Because Facebook has become a lot more difficult, and that's why there's a lot of people trying to sell as a service. I understand the Facebook algorithm. Let me help you figure out how to do.
Right.
And back then, like as just young university students, we could figure out how to
Maneuver
promote
it,
ourselves
yeah.
without any technical help from
Yeah.
somebody, some expertise. So and I suspect that maybe with time also, Instagram and the rest will also have the same, already. Not everything you put up is shown to all your followers on Instagram.
Right.
Like, it's a bit difficult to understand how they work. So even if you start on Facebook or Instagram, it makes sense to have your own platform. No one changing any algorithm is going to affect your...
Because ultimately Facebook is a business trying to make money, and they do own Instagram. So it's only a matter of time. And we've already started to feel how difficult it is to get an audience that you've worked so hard to build, right?
And something else that they do, the minute you like a Facebook page, it suggests to you other people who might like this page. So you see, like, it's giving out your competition, like you work so hard to interest these people, and then immediately it starts showing them
all the other options.
Yeah.
You take your pick.
Yeah.
Interesting. So how did you then transition into starting your own website? McKenna, maybe you could share what was that nudge that got you to think, maybe I should, I don't know, legitimize it a little by having my own website?
So I think I liked just like some element of coding. I don't have any technology.
Okay.
BBIT.
Yeah.
But then I always, so when I was doing photography, I made my own website. So
really?
Based on that experience that I have, just using templates that are already out there, and very basic coding to connect with.
You did it yourself?
Yeah.
Did you, but with what background? I'm just figuring, I'm trying to understand how you, with no background, were able to, Google, YouTube, School of YouTube.
YouTube.
I get you, girl. Yeah, okay.
So there's a lot that I didn't understand what I'm doing, but then, this is how you do it. Watch a YouTube instruction video. So there's a lot of tools out there that have been developed to make it really easy for people who don't have any technological background to make their own website and make it functional and plug in all sorts of different things.
Yeah. But I imagine it's a little bit more layered than having to start your own photography website or a blog, because then there is the commerce aspect to it, and making sure that it's a secure network or website, and that people are able to purchase off of it. Or was that an option at the time that people could make purchases off the site?
There are different types of so there's the more complicated platforms like Magento, where you'd need to have a bit more expertise or somebody who knows what they're doing. Okay. And then there are simpler platforms where it's just upload your pictures, put a price on it, and it has all the security backend, it has everything else that you need. So a layman who's able to just read and understand the instructions,
the basics, would be able to do it. So you did it on your own without having to get a web designer.
Yeah.
Was that your experience as well, Bet?
No. A bit different.
No. Okay.
We had 3 versions of our website. Start you off with the first one. We started with the complicated system that she says, Magento.
Okay.
Magento was complicated, and at that point in time we tried looking for people locally who could be able to help us code the system. The truth is, about most of the systems, even if you have a coding background, our curriculum is really old. So
Kenya, or what do you mean? Okay.
Kenya.
Okay.
You look at, they teach us, like, even in the school I was, they were teaching us how to code a website from scratch.
Yeah.
Like the page, you put a name, you create a home page.
Okay.
But fast forward, the world is not even using that. Right. 2 years later, everyone is running their websites on what I'd call engines.
Yeah.
So engines, we also call them content CMSs, content management systems.
Whew,
so,
okay.
So CMSs changed the whole game. Instead of you, if I would put it in a much simpler metaphor, instead of you coding a website from scratch, like building a car and you get the whole chassis, you get the engine separately, you get everything, and all you need to change is the top, what we call a theme. So you just put the outer look, but all the websites are actually based on specific engines. So it was different for us, knowing we thought we'd code. So what we did is went to the site, looked at there was a website that's called Freelancer. Mm-hmm. So Freelancer offers outsourced services, programmers, designers all over the world, and we posted the job there. So we got a guy from India, and he offered to do it for us, and that's how we got our first website installed.
Right. Yeah. So did you have to buy the template for both your websites, but then you someone to help design, a web designer to help with it?
Yes.
Is that how it worked?
We bought the template.
Okay.
So now the installation process is where you need someone with a bit of proficiency in that. So that's where we got them.
Okay. And I'm curious to know, on average, what are the costs for buying a template? I mean, I'm sure it varies, but in your experience, what is it?
I think, if I remember correctly, we bought ours for $165.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you did everything then on your own?
Well, when you say everything, it makes it sound like it's just like selecting the colors.
It seems like there was a lot. But but then you essentially, that's what you did. You then picked and found and added whatever you needed to add to create Mother and Baby Shop, right? What was yours, Bet?
In terms of the cost?
Yeah, for the template.
Ours was around $80.
Okay.
But that was a while back.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that much. It was like it didn't have that much aspects.
Yeah.
It was like plain and simple.
Right.
But it looked nice to us then.
Yeah.
It was better than not having
and cheaper than having to set up shop and pay goodwill and all of that. So I mean, if you compare $165 or $80 to the millions that you're sometimes asked to pay,
big difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
But there was, because before we got into this one that we have right now, we were using a combination of WordPress and WooCommerce, which is free.
Oh.
So, and they have free templates. So that's the first version that we had.
Yeah.
Before we decided to take the jump and put in money into it.
Yeah. So I do want to hear a little bit more about the tech side, because I think even though essentially what you're doing is selling mother and baby products or gift items, I think you are in the tech industry and you've had to learn a lot. But we've got to take a break. But don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment.